Hey, happy Monday, everybody. It's your accident and injury attorney coming at you live. It's Attorney Bowers here from my Elkton, Maryland office. Normally your accident and injury guy. Today, your accident and injury guy. We are going to talk about a topic that comes up all the time shortly. And this is probably going to be a little short and sweet episode because the concept is fairly straightforward. But it is a question that to this day I get confusion and asked all the time. But first, if you have not seen on our Facebook page, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a kind of a special episode, which I think now from the responses and the outreach that I'm getting is going to be a series of episodes. In fact, we're probably going to start this at the end of May or early June. And we may run a different episode on this topic every month or every week for the month of June. I'm just not sure yet, but I posted on Facebook asking for input from people about common scams. All right. I'm looking for those scams that you see and happen from time to time. You know what I'm talking about. And we're going to cover those topics because I want to put awareness out there for scams, how to identify them, how to avoid them. Again, it's not something that's obviously going to make my phone ring, which is kind of the primary point of this podcast. Full disclosure, hey, I'm running a business here and I want to let people know about stuff that brings me business so I can help them out. This is a way that I just want to help people from getting scammed because they are so common. They're so plentiful all over the place. So go to Facebook or shoot me an email at the same info at bowerslawmd.com that you would use to submit a topic. I'm looking for your insight and info on common scams so that we can talk about them on here. And hopefully, if anything, maybe somebody's alarm bells end up ringing in one of these situations. They type something into Google. They find this video or that video or one of the videos out of that series, and it prevents them from getting scammed and losing a lot of money or dealing with a lot of stress of having to clean up whatever mess, because these scams come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, all sorts of different forms. A lot of them are about snagging money from you, that's for sure. And I just want to help people out and have them avoid that kind of stuff. So info at bowerslawmd.com. Yep. Or find us on the Facebook page and leave a comment there. Again, right now, I've got enough comments to probably do 2 or 3 episodes. So don't look at it and think, hey, there's enough there. I don't need to add mine. Add it. I might do a whole month worth of those types of topics because there's just that much and it's just that important. And why not make it a series and try to help people out? So back onto that topic of helping people out. This week, we are going to talk about stop signs. Specifically, I still run into common misperceptions when people cause accidents at stop signs and don't necessarily understand that they were at fault. Now, there are one of the big commonalities, and I'm not even going to touch 4-way stop sign intersections today. That's a whole nother animal. Those without witnesses are very, very difficult to prove. Those end up being a situation where more often than not, the 4-way stop signs, everybody's at least in Maryland, everybody's insurance ends up paying for their own damage and everybody moves on. The stop sign situation that I really want to talk about today is the stop signs. They are commonly, I think, in other states, although you don't see these signs too much. I don't see them, at least in Maryland, 2-way stop signs. Where do these come about? You've got a main street, a main thoroughfare, as we call it. A favored boulevard is another, more of a legal term, something that you might hear in court or hear people talk about. But that main drag, and then you've got side streets that have stop signs leading into them. They kind of look like this, all right? As you can see from this photo, the main street does not have stop signs, only the 2 side streets, all right? So this is the type of intersection that we're talking about. I'm going to bounce back and forth between me on the visual and that. All right. A lot of people, and I hear this, I take these calls several times a month where people are calling. They were at the stop sign, as you can see here. They drive up to the stop sign. They stop. They know that they have stopped. And then they proceed, and boom, an accident happens. So there are two different things at play here, because that person is not, in that scenario that I just described, that person's not getting a ticket for failing to stop at the stop sign. That is true. That is accurate. However, that does not mean that they did not cause that accident. And here's what I mean. When you are dealing with a main intersection here, the main road, and then these intersecting streets, the main road, the one that does not have the stop signs, does not have traffic lights, does not have any sort of traffic control, it's kind of going left to right in this photo, okay? That is what's called the favored boulevard. When you are on the favored boulevard, you have the right of way, pretty much no matter what, from anybody coming on and off of those side streets. Anybody coming on and off of those side streets. I tell clients all the time, if you stop at that stop sign and you put it in park, and let's say you've got somebody else in your vehicle that's capable of driving, and you and that person get out and switch seats, so now the other person's driving. All of these things I illustrate and say to make it very, very clear that there is no question that you stopped at the stop sign. All right? You clearly cannot be moving if you get out of your car and switch seats with somebody else. If you drive from that stop sign into this intersection and cause an accident with somebody on what is that called that favored boulevard, that main street coming through, you are at fault. You, by that stop sign, owe a duty to anybody driving on that intersecting main street, the one that in the picture goes left and right. I can't make my hand track that way. And if I had the picture to line up with it, you wouldn't see me. So we're not even going to play that game. So that's kind of the rundown. Again, like I said, this is going to be a short and sweet and very simple, although sometimes for some difficult to swallow topic. If you are on that main drag, those people coming in from the sides owe you a duty. They are cutting you off, whether they stop at that stop sign or not. So this is super important stuff to know. So what is the point of all of this? When you get to a stop sign intersection like this and you are at the stop sign, you need to be extra vigilant here. Creep up if you have to. Make sure it is clear to go before you either drive across that street or make your turn. It really does not matter which direction you are turning. It does not matter if you are going straight across. If you are on that stop sign and the road from that stop sign, and that's either way. So the top section of the intersection, which you can't see the stop sign, you can only see the back of it in this photo, or the one that's in our foreground here where you can see the stop sign. Both of them are in the same situation. Both of them owe a duty to any drivers in that main thoroughfare. Now, this photo here, this illustration, it's unclear as to whether that main thoroughfare is a one-way street or if it's a two-way street, and it doesn't matter. The duty is exactly the same. So whether or not both of those lanes of travel are going in the same direction or opposite direction, they've got the right of way. They always have the right of way. Another thing that sometimes people want to argue or sometimes people want to bring up in situations like this is that they think that driver on the main thoroughfare was going really fast. They may have even been speeding. There is case law in Maryland that rules out that as a factor when it comes to contributing to the accident. So their speed, unless it is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm not even going to address what it takes to reach that level, is not a contributing factor to this accident. So again, this is kind of a warning. This is kind of a PSA, if you will, public service announcement. When you reach an intersection like this one at the stop sign, be super careful. All right. And it's not just because you don't want to cause an accident that you might have a claim against you for. You don't want to cause an accident. You don't want to be in an accident. I don't wish, it's obviously what I do for a living is handle these accident cases, but I don't wish them onto anybody. Let's be clear. So anything that I can do to create less accidents out there, I'm going to do it. Case in point, this information in this podcast. So, like I said, this one's going to be short and sweet, very, very simple, but often misunderstood concept that I wanted to put out there. Do you have a question for the Monday Morning Lawyer? That's me, Attorney Bowers, here in my Elkton office, the Monday Morning Lawyer. It does not have to be about accident and injuries. Like I said, my call to action earlier for scam situations. Send me an email about scam situations that you're aware of. Shoot a message on Facebook. There is a Bowers Law Facebook page post that is getting a bunch of comments about different topics. Some of those are coming to my personal page, so you may not see the whole list of them, but I think I got about 8 or 10 different scams that people have mentioned to me. That is going to be probably every episode the month of June. At least most of them are going to be centered around that topic. So feel free to pile on more. I will do whatever I can to prevent people from putting themselves into bad situations, whether it is talking about intersections and stop signs like today or otherwise. Again, we're here live every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can catch these episodes. I'm pretty sure that they stick around in the Facebook feed, or go to bowerslawmd.com. That's my website. Click on the podcast link. It's at the very top. You're going to see all of the back episodes. They end up on there by Tuesday. So they take a day, but also on the YouTube channel, which is where this all streams from. You'll always find the podcast episodes there under the podcast tab on the Bowers Law MD YouTube channel. So until next time, be safe out there, be extra vigilant at your stop signs. And of course, when you have other questions, boom, that's the email address. Hit me up with them. If it's not something I handle, I'll bring in a special guest who's well-versed on the topic, whether they're an expert or not. Some professions you're allowed to call yourself an expert, others you're not. So we're not even going to play around with whether that term and that title is valid. We're just going to get somebody in here who knows what they're talking about on your topic. If it makes sense to be here, we're going to put it here. So again, till next week, be well, be safe.